Okay, let's start taking the attendance. Okay. Okay, Laura Eunice. Okay, Amr is here. Sidra is here. Rukaya Mahmoud is here. I see you. Okay. Slim. Yasir Ayman is coming in now. Adam. Mesa. Zain. Lara Islam. I see Zain. Lara Islam. Omar. Mustafa. Very nice. Okay, Ahmed.
Here.
Yasin Amr. Let me just add everyone else. Malika.
Here.
Yasin Amr. Rukaya Yahya.
Here.
Malika. Only answer for yourself, please. Okay. Rukaya. Batul. She's here. Lana. Astil is here. Carla.
Oh, okay.
Yasin Muhammad.
I'm here.
Okay, I see you. All you have to say is here, I see you. Okay, Seji here. Mariam's here. Laiman Mustafa's here. Shahid here. Yusuf and Dalida. Okay.
Story? Good morning.
Okay.
Emmy, this is story? And the way
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I cannot really see. It's pretty dark in your place. Look, Amr. Look at the screen. Can you see the screen? Is this what you have?
Is this the story?
Yeah, that's the story. Okay, so this is, yesterday we read about an inventor who made unusual robots. Can anyone remember his name? He has a very unusual name. His name was?
No, I cannot remember.
His name because you were too busy talking in my session. His name was Tumataka Takashi, right?
Yes.
Yes. So Tumataka Takashi used to make unusual robots. Who can tell me what kind of robots he invented? Invented means to make something or create something for the first time. Huh? Seji, what kind of robots did he make?
A robot can ride a bike for
Yes.
24 hours.
Yes, a robot that can ride a bike. Very good. Huh? Very good. Excellent. Okay. Not this book, Sidra. Not this book. The other one. The bigger one. Okay. Ahmed. So he had a problem when he made Takashi had a problem when he was making the robot that was swimming, right?
Yes. It's Amy.
How did he fix this problem? Do you remember how he fixed this problem?
Miss Amy.
Okay, huh? I want someone who can remind me how he fixed the problem.
I am Batu. Let me.
Yes, Batul.
Don't let this.
Yes. What did he do with the robot to make it able to swim in the water?
He makes something that can swim with it, don't break, don't have any.
Yes. So he made the robot waterproof. That means it doesn't break in the water. Okay. And what did he do to the arms? Huh? Zain, do you remember Zain? Huh? What animal did he think of that can swim well when he wanted to make it? Can you hear me, Zain?
Can I say it? No, I want to say it.
I want to hear Zain. Where's Zain?
And it's so easy. Yeah. It's
Okay, what about Mariam? Do you know Mariam?
No, I know.
Stop it, huh?
تفهم.
Don't say tafha. Huh? Okay, I see. Tell us, huh? What animal did he think of when he came to swimming?
He asked him fins.
Yes, he changed the arms into fins. Why? Because he knows that
Fish.
yes, he knows that fish can swim faster because of their fins. So he changed his robot and the arms to fins. Okay, so in a story, sometimes there's a problem, means something that went wrong, and the characters in the story try to fix it. Okay.
He made the story.
Also, yesterday we said that the story has a different genre. The genre of the story is biography. Huh? You see an amen. What's the meaning of biography? Because it's tefha, right? Huh? What's the meaning of biography? Huh? Is the story real or not real?
Real.
Okay, so how is this different from a nonfiction story? What is a biography?
I forgot it.
That already? Okay, Rukaya Mahmoud, can you tell me what is a biography?
Okay. A biography is
Is it a real story or not a real story?
a real story.
Yes, but this a real story about what?
About a child.
Yesterday's story was about a child?
No. I'm talking about today. Yesterday, the story.
Yes.
Big man.
Yes. So yeah, very good. You said it, but you said it, but not in a clear way. Okay. So very good. Rukaya. You said it in the correct way. So the biography is a real story about a person's life. Guys, didn't I mute you guys? Okay. So listen to these important points. So I want you to keep two things in your mind. A biography is a real story that is written about a person's life. They wrote this is a real story about a person's life. Someone learned more about a certain person and he writes a story. Yes.
This story is a folk tale.
No, it's not a folk tale. A folk tale is an imaginary story, honey. I just said this story is called a biography. A biography is a real story about a person's life. Yesterday, we read about a real person. His name was Tomitaka Takashi, right? And today we will read about another person, another inventor. His name is Thomas Edison. And Seiji said that Thomas Edison, that when he read the story, Thomas Edison made or invented a light bulb. The word invented means to make or create something for the first time. Okay? So this Thomas Edison, when he was young, he was very curious about science and he used to like to learn about things. So he loved science so much, he started doing a lot of experiments like you guys do in science in the lab. Okay, today we will read about some of the inventions that he made and what he invented, okay? So I will start reading first, and if you want to read, you can raise your hand. And please raise your voice while you're reading. Remember, you're reading to the class. And if you don't get to read, it's okay. I will mute you all, and you can read in silence. Like you can read while your friend is reading, okay? So, Thomas Edison.
Miss Amy.
Yes.
Can I say to Sidra something?
Quickly. Sidra?
Listen, Sidra.
Sidra, listen, Sidra.
Miss Sidra.
Yeah, say to her.
Miss Sidra.
Okay. So now we get the story. Who wrote this story about Thomas Edison? His name is David A. Adler, illustrated by Sarah Snow. So the person who wrote about Thomas Edison, his name is David A. Adler. Okay, he wrote this biography about Thomas Edison, and the pictures are drawn by Sarah Snow. Okay, let's follow along together as we start reading. Chapter 1, page 204. Young Tom Edison asked lots of questions. When someone told him, I don't know, Thomas had one more question. He asked, why don't you know? He did lots of experiments to find out. So when the story usually begins about the person when he was young, like yesterday, Tamakashi, he used to like to play with blocks, and he used to use his imagination to make different things. Thomas, he used to like to ask questions. Everything he would see, he would say, why did this happen? He was always asking questions. And if someone says, I don't know, he would always say, why don't you know? So he is always curious about many things. He was always interested, and he would always try to find the answer to his questions. Okay? Lana, you can read 205. Go ahead.
205?
Yes, can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, here where I have my mouse. Tom watched.
Tom watched a goose sit on some eggs. He saw the eggs hatch. He wanted to know what
Mhm.
happened if he sat on eggs. So Tom made a nest. Then he put goose and chicken eggs in the nest. Next, he sat on the eggs and found out split.
Yes. Okay, remember, I just said Thomas Edison always had many, many questions. So he used to live in a farm, and he would see the goose, he would see the geese, they would sit on the eggs, and then when the geese would sit on the eggs would hatch, and baby geese would come out. So he said, why when you sit on the eggs, the baby chicks would come out? So what did he do? He made a big nest, and then he brought some eggs, and he sat on the eggs. But instead of the baby geese coming out of the eggs, he sat on them, and he broke all of the eggs. And then he was thinking, why? He doesn't know that only birds can sit on their eggs, and then the baby chicks will come out. He doesn't know that if we sit on it, the chicks won't come out. Okay? Guys, please don't write on the chat. Please, thank you. Okay, Yasin Ayman, your hand is up. You want to read?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, 206. Come on, quickly. Yasin, you left.
Young Tom also knew that birds and birds would fly. What if people ate worms? Tom guessed that they won't fly too. So he gave a tuck of chopped worms and water. The dog drank it, and that's it. And she didn't fly.
Yes. So another experiment that one second, Sidra, please. Another experiment that Tom did, he wants to see, like, he thought that if you eat worms like birds, you can fly. So, okay, so he had an idea. He said, okay, if we eat worms, we can fly like birds. So what did he do? He brought a cup and he cut some worms and he put it in some water and then he gave it to a girl. And when the girl drank it, did she fly? No, she did not fly. She got sick.
He got sick.
Yeah, she got sick. So he was always thinking, why? He's
Miss,
like,
I like to eat the worm,
you like to eat worms?
the jelly worms.
Oh, the jelly worms. Yeah, but not real worms, right? When he was young, he would always think of something to do. So he would always like do different experiments. He would make a nest and sit on the eggs to see if the eggs will hatch. He would always see like he would cut worms and put water in it, so it can see if he can fly or not. But instead, the people would get sick. Yes, Sidra.
Can I say something for Batul?
Yes, go ahead.
Batul, I miss you too, and you're my best friend.
Okay, thank you, Sidra. Okay. Okay, Batul, can you read 207?
Okay. Tom Edison, the boy who asked all those questions and did those
Unusual.
unusual experiments
Yes. Became
the man whose
inventions
invention
change he became the man whose inventions changed the world. Okay, so here is telling you that, guys, stop writing in the chat, please. Okay, so he says that this young boy who always had questions, who always did experiments, his experiments were unusual. They were not normal or common experiments. He grew up to become one of the best inventors in the world. Okay, he created or invented something that helped us all till today. Okay, Seji, now we're going to learn more about his childhood, about his life when he was young.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Page what?
Where did she stop?
In page 207.
Okay, so you will read page 208.
Thomas Edison was born.
Yes. I told you yesterday to cut. How can you read this year?
In 1847.
Very good. He was born in 1847. Yes, yes. Ohio. Yes, he was born in the city of Milan in the state of Ohio. Yes, honey. Go ahead.
He was the
seventh
and
stop writing in the chat. He was the seventh and youngest
child of Sam and
Nancy
is.
Okay,
Sam had a
lumber mill.
Nancy had been a teacher. When Tom had trouble in school, his mother
Yes, mother became
became his teacher at home.
Yes. So here the story starts to tell about his life, where he was born. When was he born? He was born in Milan, Ohio in 1847. That's a long time ago. He was the seventh and youngest child of Sam and Nancy Edison. So his dad's name was Sam Edison and his mom's name was Nancy Edison. Okay, and they had 7 children and Thomas was the youngest. He was the smallest one. So that means he has 6 brothers and sisters, and Thomas was the 7th one. He was the youngest one. Okay, his dad used to have a lumber mill, means he used to have a place where they cut the wood from the trees and they would use the wood. And his mom was a teacher and she would help him when he had problems or trouble in learning something in school. Okay, thank you, Seji. Okay, are you guys paying attention? Yes, Amr. Your hand is up. You can't see?
Yes, can we read?
Oh, you want to read? Okay, go ahead.
Young Tom did many of this
Experiments
in the
cellar
of this home. He had lost of years of
chemicals
He
wanted to keep
ball from
people. He wanted to keep people from messing
with them to fix the problem
yes, huh?
He had
An idea. This is one of our spelling words, vocabulary words. Idea. He had a thought in his mind. Poison. He wrote poison. He wrote poison on each jar. He thought that
would keep
others away.
Say we was
He was right. Very good. Okay. So here what Amr just said, he said, young Tom did many experiments in the cellar of his house. He had lots of jars of chemicals. He wanted to keep people from messing with them. To fix the problem, he had an idea. He wrote poison on each jar. He thought that would keep others away, and he was right. Okay, so because he liked to do many experiments. What are experiments? He liked to put things together and try to see if it will work or not. Like when you guys go to the science lab. Yesterday you had an experiment, right? To see which to see different matters or different materials. Every time you go to the science lab, you do an experiment to show you what you learned in science. So his parents gave him a room at the bottom of his house and the room at the bottom where he can do his experiments. Okay. And he would buy something called chemicals and put them together to see if he can make something out of it. Because he does not want his brothers or sister or his parents to play with his things, he wrote the word poison. Poison is like chemicals that can be dangerous, okay, to scare them and not touch any of these chemicals. So did when he wrote poison on them and told them to be careful, did they stay away? Yes. So Thomas Edison had a room in his house at the bottom on the ground floor, and he would do all his experiments to learn about science. Okay. Asil, page 211.
211.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait a minute. There were
Often
smoke, strange smells, and loud noises in the Edison home. It all came from the cellar and from young Tom's experiments.
Okay, so remember, he would always use chemicals and he would put chemicals on top of each other. So sometimes smoke would come out, bad smell would come out, and because he keeps on trying to make new things. He's trying to invent new things using new ideas. Okay, Mustafa or Layan, who wants to read? Both of you have your hands up. Okay, go ahead, Layan. Page 212.
Tom needed money to pay for chemicals and other things as a
Okay. And other things. As a result,
he got a job. Then he on trains. Then at
he sold newspapers and candies. Where are you, Layan?
sorry,
Okay. Are you done?
no.
Okay. Then at 15,
Then at 15,
he
named it the Grand
Trunk Harold. Okay. So what did he do? He liked to do many experiments, right? And he would do the experiments with something called chemicals. The ones that you see here on the jar. These are all chemicals that he uses to do his experiments. Do you guys see it in the jars and bottles?
Yes.
Okay. So because sometimes he didn't have enough money to buy them. So what did he do when he was 12 years old? He started having a job. What was his job? He used to go to the train station and sell newspapers. Newspapers are papers that have news that tells you details or information about things going on in the world. You see? Okay.
They use newspapers than
Yes.
television.
Yes. No, we still have newspapers here today. Okay. So when he was 12 years old, he used to go on the trains and sell newspapers and candy. Candy are sweets. Okay. So what happened? Why did he get a job at such a young age? So he can buy chemicals and do his experiments. When he became 15 years old, he started writing his own newspaper. He would get
looks so different than the first time.
Yes, of course, he's growing up and his face is changing. Okay, so when now he's 15, he's starting to write his own newspaper. So he starts to write all the news that he learns from people, and he names his newspaper the Grand Trunk Herald. And he would also sell it on in the train. Okay, Ruqayya Yahya. Okay, I know a lot of people want to read, but I'm trying to go as fast as I can. Rukaya Yahya, go ahead. 213. Tom?
Word
Tom wrote. Wrote is the past of write.
wrote knew of people he meet on that train. He also wrote how he felt about work the more to do. He wrote in his new paper the more done some like to keep busy, Tom keep very busy on the train. He even set up his own lab in the backpack
Baggage.
car.
Yes. Okay. So he continued to work even when he became bigger. Okay. So he liked to be always busy. He didn't like to sit down and play like other kids. He would always spend his time working or doing his experiments. Okay. He said the more to do, he wrote in his newspaper. What did he write in his newspaper? He would go around talking to the people in the train and learn about their stories, where this man is going, why is she traveling, how many kids she have. He would write all the details about their life in a newspaper. Why? Because he likes to keep himself busy. He wasn't like normal kids. He didn't like to play. No, he liked to keep himself busy. And even on the train, the room where they had all the bags, he would start doing some of his experiments. Okay. Mustafa Amr, page 214. As Tom got older,
He kept doing great things. There were no telephones at that time. Instead, messages were sent through telegraph.
yes.
They were sent in a code of dots and dashes.
Yes.
Tom learned the code. He got a job sending and reading telegraph messages. He found new ways to use the telegraph. Those were some of his first
Inventions. Excellent. Okay. So now he's much older. Okay. So he kept doing many great things. And because he was always learning new things, he became excellent in all of them. So when he became a little bit bigger, there were no telephones, but he got a different job. He got a job where he would send messages in something called a telegraph wire. You see now in the picture on page 214, he's sitting and he's using a telegraph. Okay, let's say, what is a telegraph? It's a device where I can send someone a message. Okay, so if I want to send a message to Seji, I will go to the telegrapher. Okay, I will tell him, when will you come to my house, Seji? And then instead of writing the letters, when will you come to my house? He will use something called dots and dashes, like lines and dots, and using this telegraph, and the message will go to Seji. Okay, and Seji will go to the telegraph, and then the man, he will read to him. Because in the past, they didn't have a telephone. Okay, and sometimes people lived far from each other. So if Seji wants to come and visit me, he will go to the telegraph man, and the telegraph man will send me a message, and then I will go find to another telegraph, and he will read the message to me, telling me when he will come to my house. Why? Because they didn't have telephones in the past, so people can talk to each other. So a telegraph is a device where people used to send messages. And Thomas used to know how to read the telegraph messages, and he made it even better. Okay. the session will end and we will start again to continue the story, okay?